NFL schedule. Right now, it is halftime of the Bills and Jaguars game live from London. And I picked the Bills for that game. They're down 7-11 right now at halftime. So right now I got a little time to go ahead and do my picks. I hope everybody having a good morning, man. Shout out real quick. I know we're doing the NFL today, but shout out real quick to the Ohio State Buckeyes. Big time win yesterday versus Maryland. 2 undefeated teams. Special shout out to my man Marvin Harrison Jr., a.k.a. him. That boy cold. All right, let's get into it, man. So, yeah, like I just said, I picked the Bills, to win this game in London. Like I said, they're down right now at the half, 7-11, but they get the ball coming out of halftime. Obviously, the Thursday night game, I think everybody went with Washington, but obviously Chicago came out, Justin Fields, DJ Moore, they incredible. And they took advantage of it seemed like Washington just wasn't ready to go, man. And Chicago got their first win in like a year plus. So shout out to the Bears for that. That's dope. The first game, 10 o'clock, Western time, 1 o'clock game. The first game we're going to pick is between the Texans and the Falcons. 2-2 teams right now. Both teams been playing pretty damn good football. I think surprising a lot of people through 4 weeks. I just see Bijan Robinson, super duper bright spot, for the Falcons so far. Drake London, always playing good football. I think we got to get Kyle Pitts going, man. Slow start, to the season so far, but, we know he's very super talented, kind of been hearing his name a little bit in trade rumors, but, we'll see what happens with that, but, got to get him going. Too dynamic of a football player not to get him going, so we'll see. But with this game, I'm gonna go with Houston, man. I just think, obviously with my man CJ Stroud. I'm sorry, not CJ Stroud. Yeah, CJ. Yeah, CJ Stroud. Big time football player, man, and. We've seen the things that he's been doing out there on the field. Once again, the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think, Coach DeMarco Ryans, I think he just got that team just pumped up, man. They're just playing some good football right now, and so I'm gonna go with the Houston Texans, man, to win that game in Atlanta. So we'll see what that. See if CJ can keep it going, and go from there. The next game we're gonna go. We got Carolina at Detroit. I think I don't want to say this is an easy game because every game is tough in the NFL. And when I say easy, I mean like pick. For me, this is an easy pick for me. I'm gonna go with Detroit. I just think they got so much momentum right now, man. They're just playing so, all facets of the game: offense, defense, special teams. I think Jared Goff, man, he got that. He just got that team rolling, man, and they just got so many dynamic players, man. I know he's missing one of his big guns. St. Brown will be out today, I believe. But I think they still win that game, especially in Detroit. The next game, we got the 2-2 Titans versus the 2-2 Colts. I believe Jonathan Taylor's first game is coming back today, so that definitely gives Anthony Richardson another big-time playmaker, offensively. Tennessee coming off a big win last week. This is a tough game, man. This is a division game. It's in Indianapolis. So those division games are always tough. But I'm gonna go with the Mike Vrabel Titans on this one. I see my guy. I see my twin King Henry. Doing some big things today. With the running game, and I see Tennessee pulling that game out in a close one though. The next game, we got the 1-3 Giants going against the 3-1 Dolphins. I think it's an easy pick for me. I think the Dolphins, after last week's game versus Buffalo, kind of humbled them a little bit, but also just, showed them where they are right now as a ball club. But they're just so dynamic. all them speedsters they got. When you got the Cheetah, you got Waddle, you got Etienne, you got Mostert, you got all these guys, man. Just added Chase Claypool. Not sure if he's active today, but just got so much speed, man. And, I think the Giants still banged up a lot, man. And they just haven't found their rhythm. Obviously, without Saquon, that's definitely hurt them a lot. Saquon, get back soon, brother. Miss you out there on the field. They need that dynamic playmaker. I think Daniel Jones really need him, as a safety blanket, able to, run out the backfield or play action or just, get him into some, screening game or whatever the case may be. But I got the Dolphins winning that game. The next game, we got the 2-2 Saints going into Foxborough, versus the 1-3 Patriots. This is tough, man, because anytime you're playing against a Belichick team, Coach Belichick team, they always you got to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. You got to beat them, and it's always going to be tough playing in Foxborough. And you never know which Saints team going to show up. But even though they've been playing some good football so far, 2-2, in that division, but man. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Patriots on this one. I'm gonna take a little gamble on this one. I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I know Matt Jones hasn't looked great so far this year. I know the offense ain't been really looking that good, and that big time cornerback. Gonzalez is out for the season. I think he hurt his shoulder last week. He's big time player, and I'm not sure if Mr. INT, J.C. Jackson is going to be playing. Back where he was originally at, back with the Patriots, coming from the Chargers. Not quite sure if he's going to be in the lineup, but still I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I like them at home today. This next game is very intriguing. Like I said, anytime you're talking about division games, man, oh man, this is a big time division game in the AFC North. You got the Baltimore Ravens at 3-1, going down to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers at 2-2. This is a big time game, and with all the injuries Baltimore has had so far this year, man, on the offensive side, on the defensive side, the one consistent is the MVP candidate. And if you really want to keep it a buck right now, maybe the leader in the MVP race, and that's Lamar Jackson. I mean, you just look at all the injuries he's had so far, to his offense, and he's playing at a high level, and they haven't missed a beat. Playing in, like I said last week when I made my picks, anytime you're going to get some Mike Tomlin team, he's one of my favorite people in the world. Not only as a coach, but just a person. Mike Tomlin is just super dope. But it's going to be challenging anytime you're playing in Pittsburgh. They're just super well coached. And like I said, it's another team that you got to beat them. They're not really going to beat themselves. But I like where Baltimore is headed right now. I really do. I like where Baltimore is headed right now. They're just playing good football, man. And I got the Ravens winning that game in a close one. The next game, we got the 1-3 Bengals going out to the 1-3 Arizona Cardinals. That's a 4:00 game, 1:00 game, West Coast. Bengals just haven't looked good, man. Obviously, you got all the talks is about Joe Burrow's health. How is his calf doing? Him being so great, what makes him so dynamic is him being able to get outside the pocket, play action, either running the ball with Joe Mixon and then mixing up with play action, him rolling out, getting out in the pocket, being able to throw on the run, to some of those great receivers that they got, Jamar Chase, obviously, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, those guys they're so dynamic, but, it seems like so far through 4 weeks, Joe Burrow's been, pretty much in shotgun, giving him that room to just stand in the pocket and just try to, throw off his back foot or whatever. But the offense hasn't quite clicked as we've grown accustomed to. Arizona's been playing some decent football. Obviously, Kyler Murray's been out all year so far, still coming back from that knee injury from last year. Still no timetable when he's going to come back, but people are sounding more optimistic about his return. I don't want to say soon, but we'll see. And they've been playing some good football. They're still missing one of their big-time playmakers on the defensive end, Budda Baker. Haven't seen him in lineup yet, but he's a big-time player. So, but with that said, I'm going to go with the Bengals. I believe they can, go down there and get a win in a hostile environment in AZ. So I'm going to go with the Bengals. Here go a big time game right here. We got the 4-0 Eagles, headed to Los Angeles inside SoFi to play the 2-2 Rams. Wish I was back in LA for that game. I definitely would have pulled up to that game to watch that match. Listen, the Rams have been playing some good football, and I don't think anybody would have said before the season through 4 weeks that the Rams would be sitting at 2-2. But they've been playing good football, and I believe Cooper Kupp is coming back. That's big time. Obviously, they got Puka Doncic, who's been going crazy. Most receptions of any wide receiver in NFL history through 4 weeks. And then, obviously, we seen last week with the game-winning reception that he had to win the game last week. And Matthew Stafford just got a cannon of an arm. He can make all the passes inside, outside the numbers. He's been balling. And then that defense has been steady too. Obviously, the anchor is always going to be Aaron Donald. He's going to set the edge no matter if he's playing inside or outside. But he just set the tone for the defense. But with that said, man, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Eagles. I think they're playing some of the best football in the NFL right now, along with I would say probably along with the Niners and the Bills right now through 4 weeks. The Eagles are just super dynamic, both offensively and defensively. They have it all. The running game, DeAndre Swift, has looked great. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is just a super duper competitor, super duper winner. Can make all the passes as well. You got Devontae Smith, you got AJ Brown. You got another running back. You got Gladwell. You got all these guys, man. They just make plays. And they've been playing like a team that wants to get back to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to take the Eagles in that game. As much as I like the Rams, as much as I respect what they've been doing. And Coach McVay is one of my favorite people as well, too. Shout out to Coach McVay. With the next game, the 425 game, we got the 1-3 Jets going into to Denver to play the 1-3 Broncos. For me, I'm going with the Jets. Yeah, they're 1-3, but I feel like they've played better football than a 1-3 team. I think last week showed that versus the Chiefs. They had a great opportunity to win that game. I want to say I don't particularly love the holding call on Sauce Gardner. I believe the receiver went inside, got caught on Sauce's arm, and a penalty was called. But whatever the case may be, they played great football, and I think Zach Wilson has played great ball over the last couple of weeks, but especially last week. And I hope he does it again. So I'm going to take the Jets winning that game in Denver to get them to 2-3 through 5 weeks. Now, the next game, we're going to go with the 3-1 Chiefs heading into the 1-3 Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, Minnesota's been struggling, through 4 games. They did win 1 game, but, their offense hasn't clicked as much. Justin Jefferson, beast. Obviously, we know that. Kirk Cousins has been playing some good football, but ultimately they haven't played to their liking, to their ability, especially the way they played last year, even though the postseason didn't go according to plan. But, last year they played some really good football. But this is going to be a tough test for them. Anytime you got Patty Mahomes coming into your building, Travis Kelce, and the big guy, one of my favorites, Andy Reid, it's going to be tough. You have to make it very tough on those guys, and I think the Jets did last week. Try to put pressure on Mahomes, make him throw passes before he wanted to throw them. But at the end of the day, Mahomes is throwing passes, no looks, on the run, cross body. He does it all. And anytime Travis Kelce is in the lineup, it's going to give them a good chance to win. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs in that game. I think it could be a really good game, obviously, but the Chiefs will prevail. Now, this is the game of the day. This is the 5:20 start West Coast time, 8:20 East Coast time. This is the game of the day. This is the rematch at NFC Championship last year between the Cowboys and the Niners. We knew how that went down last year. Sorry, not the NFC Championship, but the division game. This was the game after the wild card, because the NFC Championship last year was the Eagles versus the Niners when they didn't have any quarterback. So my fault. Right before the NFC Championship, game last year, but this is a rematch from last year's postseason game. You got the 3-1 Cowboys headed to, the Niners. This is a rival game. This is the game that we all. I mean, if you're an '80s baby, you've seen this matchup plenty times. Late '80s, early '90s. Sometimes it went to the Cowboys. Sometimes it went to the Niners. You had guys flipping sides. You had Charles Haley playing on both sides. You had Deion Sanders playing for both franchises. You had Terrell Owens playing for both franchises. You had Ken Norton Jr. Playing for both sides. You just had all these guys, man. And it just seemed like those were just the winners in their late 80s and in the early 90s, and they always went at it. But back to 2023, Cowboys playing great ball. Obviously it all rides on Dak Prescott's arm and his ability to protect the ball. But they've been playing great ball. Obviously, their defense is super duper dynamic. Micah Parsons is a beast. Always up there for MVP defensive race every year since he entered the league. He's just so dynamic. And then you go to the other side and you can look at, what they are able to do. The Niners on all sides of all three facets of the game: offense, defense, special teams. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. I think we can go ahead and scratch that. There's nothing irrelevant about him. A beast. Not only manages the game, but makes the plays, makes the passes. Has so many players that he can go to. Brandon Ayuk. I know he's been kind of injured a little bit. I'm not quite sure if he's in the lineup. If he is, he's a dynamic player. You got Debo, obviously. You got Ray McCloud, who's starting to get into the game now. He's not just returning punts. Now he's receiver. You got George Kittle, and obviously you got one of my favorite players in the entire league, CMC, who has, I believe, either 12 or 13 straight games with a touchdown. He's right up there with Lamar Jackson if you're talking about MVP of the NFL right now. Super duper beast. Give it to him out the backfield, either through a run, through a pass, and he's throwing passing touchdowns if those linebackers and safeties creep up too much. He'll throw it over the top for a touchdown too. And then their defense super